Hello and welcome to podcast episode 21. I am Marta and I'm a crochet designer, and I'm here today to bring you news of my crochet projects. I got just one knitting project and I've got a couple of Tunisian things on the go as well. So if you haven't had a go at Tunisian crochet before, you'll get to see those and it might inspire you to start. So I'm going to dive in. I think I'll start with the Tunisian just because it's right here. I'll not start with that one, I'll start with this one. I've shared this before on the podcast. This is the Tunisian Sampler Cowl by Joanne Scrace of the Crochet Project. And I'm working through the Crochet Project's Tunisian Crochet Basics and Beyond course. And each Friday morning, a little piece of this cowl, it'll go like this. A little piece of this cowl is being launched and you get a wee video and some helpful advice and things. It is a fantastic course. If you haven't tried Tunisian crochet yet, I really urge you to give it a go. I always, like I said before, I always thought that it was beyond me, that I was doing something wrong, which I inevitably was, because mine, but in the past, mine has not come out like this. But this course has set me straight and I am loving Tunisian crochet. In case any of you are following along with the pattern, I have deliberately changed this last bit. It should be orange, which is colour B, and I think is that colour C for me? Yeah, I've made it colour C simply because I want more orange leftovers than the lilac. That's all. So I deliberately switched things up. I'm quite happy with the size of it. It's got one more section to do. Actually, I've got two more rows on this section. Pardon me, two simple rows on that one, and then the final section. But I'm quite liking the size of it. And it says on the final one, in the instructions, it says that you can make it as long or as short as you like. So I'm probably going to go for fairly short because I like the tightness of this. Yeah, isn't that lovely? I'm really, really happy with it. So I am an affiliate for the Crochet Project, and there is a link in the description. You'll find everything I chat about should be in the description. If I mention anything and it's not in the description, you want to know more, please leave me a comment, because when I upload it and I'm having a wee think, what did I talk about? I may miss some things out. So if there's anything I do miss, just leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you and I'll amend the comments and let you know whatever it was that's missing. So there will be a link to this, and it is an affiliate link, which means that I get a small percentage of the sales to either the course or the Crochet Project's hub, which is a membership site. You can go for this either way, and I believe the pattern itself is now available to download without the course. If you know what you're doing with Tunisian crochet, you can just go for it and buy this pattern. Totally recommend it. I'm using Willow and Lark Ramble, which is a DK weight pure wool from lovecrafts.com. That's where I got this. And I went for really autumny shades. I think this started back in September and I went for lovely autumny colours, especially this orange. Love that orange. So the variety of stitches in this have just been really, really lovely, which moves me on to my next Tunisian, the final one. I'll put those over there. So I then had a wee look. I have some Tunisian books and I had a wee look to see what else I could do, and I've worked up this sample, and it is in basket weave, and I was just having a bit of a play around. I think I'll just make it a placemat, back it in felt and make it a placemat. I've got this, maybe about a fifth of a ball or something left, and I think I'm going to make it a placemat. This was, gosh, do I even remember? It's some sort of Debbie Bliss. It's an plied yarn, so it's more like what you would use if you were doing felting or something. It's really lovely and soft and consistent. So unlike some of these yarns, can you see if I hold it there? I'm not pulling any, well I am now. If I just let it go like this, there's not thick and thin on it, so it kind of acts, in that way it kind of acts like a ply yarn, so it's giving me really good stitch definition, which I'm liking. I was just looking for an odd ball that I had to try this out. So this is Tunisian, and yeah, had a good play around. There's a couple of mistakes in it, but it's all good. Yeah, make a nice placemat for our table. I'll just back it. This is the back if you're interested. So it kind of looks like purl and knitting a little bit. But I will back it just to make it even thicker and a bit more substantial as well. It's slightly floppy. That is my plan. So Tunisian crochet. If you've been crocheting for a while and you're looking for something a bit different, or maybe you've been eyeing up Tunisian crochet patterns and wondering about it, go and give it a go. What's the worst can happen? You can even get started on it with a regular crochet hook. Have I got one here? Yeah, I do. See, your regular crochet hook, you'll be able to get, 5 or 6 Tunisian crochet stitches on there. So you could try a short stitch count in a row and see how you get on, and take it from there. Alright, let's talk about this one. Since I'm over there and I pulled it out of this. Quick drink of tea. I've just finished my lunch. I had some yummy samosas for lunch. Husband went to the Co-op last night and he got, the big samosas that are maybe, I've got huge hands, bear that in mind, right? They are that size. I'll put it by my face. Big samosas for 41 pence, down from £2.5. 41 pence. So I blasted them in the microwave to heat them up, and then I popped them in the air fryer to crisp them, and they were yummy. So that's what I had for lunch. Don't know why I digress there. So if you've been following me on social media, and you may have seen I shared this sock just the other day, my first little hint of something that is coming. It is a sock pattern, and it's called the Liar Socks. It's been tested, it's been tech edited, and I'm going to be releasing that probably next week. I'll show you this. I've got a little bit of work to do. I'm hoping to get it done by the end of next week. 2 things to do. 3 things to do, really. So the pattern is all good to go. I'm not just going to release it as a one-off. I decided I would release it with another 2 patterns and make it like a little Cosy Winter Bundle. I need to work on a name for it. I am dreadful at naming things, so I'm going to come up with some sort of name. So the other 2 patterns, this is the same one. This is my Fields of Wheat beanie. I've got a couple of samples here in alpaca. This one is in UK alpaca, which is a UK-based alpaca yarn company. It's really, really lovely. And this one is in Juniper Moon Farm baby alpaca. I think Harriet, is the name of that one. Not the name of the colourway. I think the colourway is possibly buckwheat. I'm not sure what the colourway is for this one. This sample I made a long time ago. I think we're probably talking about 2016, 2017 that I made this first sample. Bring it in, let you see. And I think I have spoken about it before, actually. This one is a pattern that I have worked on back and forward. It's been through 2 different tech editors. I made a whole load of changes based on what the first tech editor told me, and then as I learned more in my crochet design journey, I decided I didn't like these changes, but I hadn't kept the original pattern, so I went back and changed it to the way I wanted it to be. And then Tamara Goodeman re-tech edited it for me, and I've had it retested, and I am perfectly happy with it. This was, I didn't bring it with me. This was actually launched in British Fibre Art magazine, and I now have the rights back to it. It was in issue 23 of that, around about this time last year actually. So I'm releasing this with the socks and a cowl. I don't have the cowl with me to show you today. I'm keeping that up my sleeve for now. But yeah, so this hat, it'll be in several sizes. I can't remember off the top of my head how many. Hey, I'll pop it. Does this one fit me? I cannot remember. Not quite, but you can get an idea of what it sits like. I don't think any of them fit me. I have a large head. This one's been blocked. I'll just find there's a slight seaming on it. Oh, maybe I've hidden it well. There we go. There. You can see I've straightened the stalks on. This is a later version. I've straightened out the stalks on it. So it's it's not as tight as that. It's too small for me. A fairly tight fitting beanie. And it's worked in 2 sections. And these, yeah, I was wanting to tell you about these wheat motifs. So these are done in the same way. If anyone is following along the Westnitz MCAL, the twist and turns shawl, that is the same technique. You do chains and then later you thread them through each other. Let's pull that right in, make sure it's focusing nicely. Yeah, there we go. Can you see? They are just absolutely gorgeous. So the pattern starts here and works up towards the crown, and then you pick up here and work down and do the headband, if you like, afterwards. And these are simply post stitches. Ta-da! There we are. So the sock, hat and cowl are all going to come together in a little cozy bundle. If you have got any ideas for a name for that, Cozy Winter Bundle, come on, there's got to be a better name for it than that. I will have a play around myself, but if you guys think of anything, I might even make it a competition over on social media once I've released what the 3 patterns are, if I don't come up with anything myself. So there's the lyre socks, so all 3 patterns have a bit of texture in them, which pulls them together, and all 3 are going to be good for keeping you cozy over this winter. So yeah, the other thing I was going to say about this one, so this is the first sock design I have done where there's this texture down here, but if I flip it, it's not on this side. Do I have sock 2 with me? I don't think I do. I was trying to grab everything I needed. As usual, I am not too organised. The other sock, if I was to hold them side by side so they're symmetrical, the other sock would have this down the other side. So this will go down, you know, down that side of your body, and the other textured bit will go down on the outside of your other foot. So just something a little bit different. If you've made a few of my sock patterns, it just switches things up a bit, makes it a bit different. It's a cuff down design, and it starts with the back loop only ribbing and then comes straight into these stitches, which are a modified extended double crochet stitch. And there is a video to show you exactly how to go about that. There's a video for the hat as well. And the reason I showed this one first, this is, yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? I've got this one. So the socks would go with that on the outside, and here's the other one. That would be on the outside of the foot. On your other foot, if that makes sense. So this is another sample I'm making, and this is the one that I'm doing the videos on as I go. So I've got as far as the heel flap, and I've been working on videos. I think the stitches show up even better in this yarn. I'll tell you what the yarns are in just a moment. Have a quick glug. So the blue one, I've jotted this down. The blue one is from John Arbon Textiles, and it is the Exmoor sock yarn, which is 60% Exmoor Blueface, 20% Corriedale, 10% Swart Bliss and 10% nylon, and it is around 200 meters per 50 gram skein. And the other sock is a totally different yarn. This is Garthanor organic, and it is Snowdonia is the type of the sock yarn, and I did was not as well prepared and I haven't written all this down because I was thinking, yes, I have this ball band, which I do, but it's through in the other room. And if you've been watching any of these podcast episodes, you'll know that I do zero editing, so I'm not about to go and dash through and get the ball band. This one I have misplaced, so I'm not sure where this one went. So I went quickly on the website before I did this episode, looked up exactly what the details were. The colourway is whortleberries. Yes, whortleberries, which is wild blueberry, I believe. This one is a natural yarn. It is undyed, and for this project you definitely need, I say this in the notes for the pattern, you definitely need a more toothy kind of yarn that's going to grip and show these extended double crochet puffs, because one of my testers tried it in just a regular sock yarn and they just kind of went a bit flat. They need the grip of a more natural, sheepy, I guess is maybe another better word, sheepy type of yarn to just make these stay and not go flat. Yeah, it's coming out nice in the light there. So I really hope you like these patterns. They're a couple that I've been keeping up my sleeve for, or in my shoe, for ages. I haven't released this one. I've ummed and ahed about when I was going to do it. The photos for it were taken this time in 2020. So it's 2 years ago that I did a photo shoot with Neil, my eldest, for this design. And yeah, it's good to finally get it out. And the same with this one. This one's been on the go since the start of the year. It is my 6th sock pattern. So if you've been following me and you've maybe seen patterns 7 and 8, now you know. This is the sneaky hidden one that I have just kept up my sleeve. So there's these two and a cowl, and they'll be going together in a little Cosy Winter Bundle. Sign up, if you haven't done so already, sign up to my newsletter, because that is where all the info's going. I've actually scheduled an email to go out first thing tomorrow morning, and those on my mailing list will actually see what the 3rd pattern is. So it's little things like that that I like to share with my mailing list first, and the biggest discount code will go on my mailing list as well. So if you want to get a little bit more than what I put everywhere else on social, then do hop on my mailing list. Tomorrow's one's a good one, actually, if I do say so myself. Tomorrow's email is going to be all about crochet hooks. So if you want to know more about crochet hooks, would you believe I found 10 different types of crochet hook? A total of 10. I had a quick look and I found 7, and then I messaged a crochet friend of mine, Tillymint Creates, who is Lisa, and I told her the ones I'd found and asked her if she could think of any more, and she gave me 3 more, which is like, whoa! 3 I hadn't even thought about. So if you want to know more about crochet hooks and the different varieties out there, then do go on my mailing list. If you're catching this, this is Thursday the 27th, I believe, of October. So if you catch this before end of today, but I know a lot of people do just jump on and watch it straight away. So if you're catching that then you'll get it in my mailing list, and if you miss that cutoff, it will be on my blog. So I'll put a link to my blog in the description as well, so you'll find it there. But yeah, do go hop on my mailing list. Loads of good stuff goes out there, and more in-depth stuff as well. Often what I put on the blog is slightly clipped. So, top tip for you. Right, I'm not actually showing this off, but I will maybe just pop it over me. The sun seems to have disappeared from this room a little bit. It's definitely getting colder, and we have started putting the heating on, but just for a couple of hours in the evening. So it's kind of blankets, cozy jumpers. This is the, I think it's the Strom cardigan, which was in the Shetland Wool Week annual in 2020, I believe. A lovely pattern. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who designed it, but if you look up Shetland Wool Week annual 2020, you should be able to find that. I just followed the pattern. I did choose my own colours, so I didn't go for the colours in the pattern. I did choose my own. And it's the first time I've ever steeked. I don't know if any of you have seen this since I've started podcasting. So it was worked in the round and then cut up, and then the button band was added. Really cool. Scary, scary moment doing that steeking for the first time, but I guess it's in Shetland yarn. If I bring it in, it's in Shetland yarn 4-ply. I cannot remember off the top of my head if this is Jameson and Smith or just Jameson's yarn. Can't remember. It was a couple of years ago I made this. So it is 4-ply Shetland yarn. So again, it's got that toothy quality that I was talking about in the socks. So it wasn't a problem. Stitches did not go ping and unravel. They really stayed, and it was straightforward to do, I have to say. So steeking, I can add that to the list of things I've tried. I've just got red bush tea this afternoon. Red bush tea with some soy milk in this mug that I have had since about 2002, I think. It's going well. It's got a tiny chip here, but it's, if I bring it around, yeah, tiny chip there, but it's one of those smooth ones, you know. So it never bothers me. It's not cracked, so it's not like there's yuck and bacteria all infested in it. So yeah, tend not to give it to visitors, but happily to use it myself. Have I got anything else to show? I do have a couple of things. One is some happy mail I have had. I saw this on Instagram, Yarnworm Collector, and I do always collect these ends. So these are just ends that I've cut off projects, and I've got this sitting on my wee table beside where I work, and then when I get enough I tend to start an amigurumi project. So I store them all in here, and when I say start an amigurumi project, this is what I'll use to stuff toys. If I make a toy, if I make anything else that needs stuffed, I'll use these ends, and then nothing is really going to waste, and it's just a great way to use all these bits, and it looks so pretty sitting by my window. And I just found this perfect sticker. It's by, I can't remember who is the influencer here, because I did see it on someone else's Instagram, and I immediately clicked on QWERTY Cat. QWERTY Cat, you'll find them, they've got an Etsy shop. Clicked on their account and ordered a wee set of stickers. And I actually, because it's the first time I've seen the business, I just ordered a seconds pack which had the one I wanted in it, and it's got tiny little issue up near the top, but you wouldn't really know. I've not got all of them here, but I've got a few of them. There's a community over competition, so you can maybe see there's a little bit of a white edge around this one, so that, you know, they're not perfect, but it'll do. I like this one, Frog It, and this one's very me too, Crochet and Coffee. So again, they've all got tiny imperfections, some of them more noticeable than others, but I mean, obviously I went for the little bargain pack, but they've got the pristine ones as well. I was just dipping my toe in with that business and thought I'll just go and go for something just affordable, I guess, as well, and see what they're like and see what the quality of them is like, and I will definitely be buying some more at some point in the future. So again, I will link to their Etsy shop in the description. I've just realised I've got another sock somewhere. Here it is. And this one is not my own design. If you saw my YouTube short, I did a wee video and I had, let's put it off screen, I had this much of this sock showing, and I did a wee video saying, is it a muffin or is it a sock? So I've done a bit more on it since that. That video went crazy. It got over 5,000 views or something, which is just madness. Just out the blue, it just rocketed. Within an hour it was at 3,000 or something, and then it crept to 5,000 and then just plateaued off, which seems to be the way with YouTube shorts. But I got quite a few new subscribers from that as well, so if you're watching this for the first time having seen that short, then thank you. I hope you like my podcast. It's a sock. I don't know why I'm doing this round and round and round. I will show you the pattern. It is Jaywalk Socks by Addy Designs. Addy Designs is Deanne Ramsey. It's a pattern that came out fairly recently, maybe about a month ago. It went straight into my Ravelry queue and I bought it pretty soon after that. I decided, right, I'm going to buy it. I think there was a discount code on, so I quickly scooped that. And I'm making it in 2 different yarns. One, I realised, is the same yarn as this. So I may need to rethink. Hey, I didn't finish telling you the whole story about this one. I'll go back to that. So I picked 2 yarns out of my stash and I thought that they'd be perfect. This one here for the contrast, so I'll add that in for the heel and this little bit round the cuff as well. And this beauty is from Simple Natural Handmade? Yeah, Simple Natural Handmade. And it is a hand-dyed, naturally dyed yarn. And I haven't got the ball band. I do have the ball band. It didn't give me the colourway on it. And I would have to look back through my emails and see if I can find what the colourway is, because I don't remember. What it is that dyed this lovely colour. It's just such a soft, yellowy, so almost burnt umber, but not quite. Just really, really lovely colour. Love it. And I'm pairing it with that one from Garthanor Organic Snowdonia, which is again, it's a natural. This was completely natural though. This one hasn't been dyed at all. So together, I like the naturalness of the 2 together. But I may need to order more, or I may actually. I've got some of this left, so I'm thinking that might do. Let's see if we can do a little role play here. Would that do for the heel? I think it would, wouldn't it? If we did something like that and then put the yellow back up here. Yes. That might just give me enough yarn. So we shall see, we shall see. I thought, like I say, I thought that this was, I knew it was a 50-gram ball that I'd skeined, and I had not realised that it's actually for this. So I said there was 3 things I had to do before I release the socks and the other patterns. I need to make another couple of videos. The whole heel section basically. I need to make that video. I need to do a photo shoot. So I haven't done that at all. I have that booked in for Monday morning with my good friend Gemma. And the other thing I need to do is it maybe finish this? Yes, that'll be it. I thought I had 2 socks and this, I know I've got this pair. This pair is done. I have one of this and a half sock. So I need to finish this by a Monday morning, which is easily doable. It's extended double crochet, so it works up nice and fast. These bits are obviously slightly more fiddly, but you've only got a few of them per round, so it's okay. I will easily get this finished in time. So 3 things before Monday. Making the videos as I go. So yeah, back to this. Totally recommend this pattern. So far anyway, I'm just about at the gusset increases. It's got a lovely gusset and a heel turn, heel flap, obviously a toe up sock, and all that lovely texture is on the top, and this is all back loop only stuff. So yeah, really like it. These might be for my dad. I haven't even decided who they're for. I've gone for a nice wide size, and they're going to be really cozy with all that lovely natural wool in them, and obviously this ribbed bit really makes it cozy too. And I know my dad likes my crocheted socks, so he might get these for Christmas. We shall see. I don't think I'll have enough yarn to make them much bigger, because obviously this is all I have. I have not followed my own advice and half this, and then I would know exactly how much I had, but I will work the other toe and then I can weigh. So if I work the other toe and add the other toe to this, pop this on the scale with the other toe, and pop this on the scale, then I know when the numbers match up, that's when they are even. So, and if I get as far as the heel, I might add in the heel as well. So the toe, can't add in the heel until, without cutting the yarn. I am talking nonsense. But I can get an idea. I can stop when I get to the heel turn. When I get to the heel turn, I can stop, make the toe for this one, providing I've got enough of this yet. I'm doing a lot of juggling here, right? I hope all that makes sense. I think it does. If you've completely lost what I'm saying, please give me a shout and I'll try and explain better next time when I've probably made a bit more progress. One last pattern to show you, and it has been 3 weeks since my last podcast. My husband was off work last week, and it may have fitted in that I got to podcast. As it turned out, it didn't. We had quite a busy week, so I didn't podcast. I think it was horrible and wet on the Thursday, and I think it would have just been really dark, and I could have put my lamp on, yeah, but I decided not to. It was just a bit of a miserable day. So I didn't, and it's been a 3-week gap. Also, I've been working on something behind the scenes, 2 somethings behind the scenes. I've got a pattern submission that I can't share anything about at all. And I have another collaboration with Crochet in Australia, which I should be able to tell you all about come next podcast. I have been working on some socks for their next box, which is, I think it's at the kind of get together stages now. It'll be going out very soon. So that company is based in Australia, and they deliver to Australia, New Zealand and the States, I believe, but no further than that, just due to the cost of shipping and then import tax that often gets whacked on these things as well. So if you're in Australia, which I know quite a lot of my viewers are, which is lovely. I have designed for this crochet subscription box company. I think this is the 4th. I was trying to have a think. So from there, I've kind of gathered a wee following, which is really lovely, of folks over in Australia who have bought those boxes in the past, and that is how they have come to get to know me. So this one is going out super soon. By next podcast, I'll be able to share that design with you. So I think even I was totally head down in the midst of it until my husband was off. So I wouldn't actually have had all that much to share 2 weeks ago, other than, I can't talk about this. But Crochet have now announced that I am the designer for the next box, and that is a sock pattern. So that much I can tell you. So this is what I've been putting most of my love into. Look. Isn't it awesome, if I say so myself? Now the last time, 3 weeks ago, I had just split for the sleeves, so I was at the underarm basically, and this, I've just put it on a bit of scrap yarn. Although I've discovered a new podcast, Eldenwood Craft, I'll link them as well, Emma's podcast. Emma makes project bags, and just this morning I watched her podcast for the first time, and she had this cool gadget that goes around things like sleeves when you split for them, and I think it had little holes in the end that you can pop on the end of your needle and pull through, and then when you need to pick up again, it makes it really easy too. It looked amazing. I shall definitely be looking that up. And I've just gone old school with a piece of mercerized cotton, so I know that's not going to catch and snag. It pulls through, no problem. However, yeah, back to look. This is my entry for the Scrappy Project Mal, which is run by Jenna Sargent.techedit on Instagram, and you can just take part by knitting, crocheting, weaving, I suppose, any scrappy project you like, and this is what I picked. Got the pattern here. It's the Sea Glass Sweater by Wool and Pine Designs, and I came across this maybe a few months ago. I kept seeing it pop up on people's Instagrams. I wasn't actually following Wool and Pine Designs. I am now. but it kept popping up this sea glass sweater, and I was like, ooh, that looks cool. Added it to my queue on Ravelry, and when the Scrappy Project Mal came up, I thought, ha, I'm not going to do one of my scrappy blankets. I'm not going to start another scrappy blanket just now. Let's go for this. So this is DK weight, and it is all scraps from my stash. And it's, if I bring it in again, it's 1x1 stranded knitting, or 1x1 colour work. So I guess it's like Fairyl, and you're just switching colour. One in one colour and one in the next. Couple of things to say about it. I'll just hold it like this, I think. By next time, I'll be able to, even if the sleeves aren't finished, I will be able to wear it. I am at the waistband. I have double checked that is as long as I want it to be. I've cut the yarn and I'm going to do the waistband. I need to go and visit my mum and get some finer needles, because I don't have any circulars at all. All the circulars I use, I just borrow from my mum because I don't really like using circulars, so I don't have a collection of them. I'll do it. So I've managed it for this. For the sleeves, I'm just going to go straight into double pointed needles. Cannot wait to double pointed needle them. That is just way more my thing. But my mum likes her circulars, and she's got, you know, one of those fancy folders with all the different sizes, and they're all clearly labelled, and I hope she's not watching this. I'm not taking the mick. I am in awe of her circular needle stash. So I need to go, and once I've finished recording this, I'm going to lasso the dog and we'll go and visit her. She just lives 5 minutes up the road from me, and I will borrow some smaller needles to do the waistband. The pattern has all the neckline, the cuffs and the waistline all in the one colour. Can you see it in that picture? Just perhaps. It's kind of shadowy, but you can. I am in true scrappy style. I am going to make them all different colours, even the two sleeves. These bits, I'm going to do one colour, one the other, just to make it really scrappy. So I was going to tell you a couple of things that I've done slightly differently on this. The pattern calls for you to change yarn at the end of rounds. This is the back. It's slightly bumpy. I think when that's blocked it will even out, but I think even then there is going to be a little bit of a jog, because I have just changed colours when I felt like it, which has meant that in order to get, let's find an obvious one. In order to keep the colours staggered, let's look at the red. No, that's not clear at all. Let's look at, trying to find one. I guess you can see here in the yellows. In order to keep the colours staggered, yes, here, I've had to have a jog. And what I should have done, thinking back, I should have just made the back one stitch less, and then I would have been able to go round and round without needing, because I had an even number of stitches, it meant that when I got to this point, it would start to, they would pile up one on top of the other. Do you know what I mean? That one there is a different colour, so that's not what's happened there. But if you look at the yellows, they are staggered, and yeah, in retrospect, all I needed to do was lose a stitch on the back, and I could have saved myself. I had to keep a stitch marker in and remember every round to do the two together. And after a few rounds, I did actually stagger it so it moves slightly. Just to hide it a wee bit, but I think it's puckering ever so slightly, just because it's the only place where the wool on the back is being pulled across 2 stitches instead of 1. I think when it's blocked that will even itself out, and even if it doesn't, this is my front. Most people are looking at my face, right? So super happy with this. I am just over the moon. I love the way the colours have worked out, and I've had it on a few times and it fits me beautifully. It's going to be so cozy. I've done the magic knot technique for changing colours, which was new to me. It's great to be trying out a new technique. I think on the last podcast I mentioned I also learnt the backwards loop cast on, I think it was called, for under the arms. So I love learning new things, whether it's in crochet or knitting or whatever. It's brilliant. So I know I'm normally a crochet podcaster, but I do always have one knitting project on the go. I was watching the Cosy Cottage Crochets. Cosy Cottage Crochet. Now I'm saying that out loud. You know who I mean. Hannah Siegmund's podcast just the other day, and she was saying how she likes to alternate between knitting and crochet because it rests your hands, which it definitely does. It's a different technique. It means you get more hours to craft, right? Because you might be crocheting away and you realise that your hands have got a bit stiff, or you're just doing the same action over and over and you can just feel it begin to get a little bit icky. Stop whenever that happens, by the way. Do not work through it. I know so many people who have ended up with terrible repetitive strain injury or whatever else. They've strained their hands, they've done damage, and then they've had to be away from crochet. They've had to stop completely. So you do not want to end up in that position. So if you are feeling niggles in your hands or even in your shoulders or whatever from crochet or knitting, whatever, do stop for sure. So that's why I like, and why Hannah was saying as well, she likes to have a mix of knitting and crochet, because it's slightly different. The way you just hold the yarn, the technique, the repetitive movement is different across them both, but you're still getting to play with yarn. So I was trying to urge you to take up Tunisian crochet. If you only crochet and you don't knit, give knitting a go as well. For years I would look at it and be like, oh, I wish I could knit. And eventually the projects just called me too much and I began knitting, and yes, so glad I did. I really am. Don't get me wrong, crochet is still my favourite, but just the things you can do with knitting, they're just slightly different. And it just means that you're no longer looking at knitting on Instagram and going, oh, wish I could knit. So if you can crochet, going from crochet to knitting is fairly straightforward, because you've got, I think I've said this before as well, you've got a lot of the same, a lot of it's transferable. You know about yarn, you've got an idea about how to hold yarn. You understand about tension, about consistency. You've probably learned to read a pattern. So all that just goes straight across to knitting. Stick on a YouTube tutorial if you haven't got a friend or a family member who can show you, and go for it. It's a new skill, isn't it? So I think I'm pretty confident that is all the things. I did a live yesterday and I was talking, random bit of yarn. I was talking about possibly pivoting where I am in my business, not completely, just a little, because I was just looking through a couple of things, the stats in my Ravelry in terms of sales, so sales on Ravelry and my website. I don't make too many sales through Love Crafts, but I do make some, so I looked at what was selling most on them. And then I looked through my social media posts at what was getting the most reach, what were people liking the most in terms of my pictures on social media. And because it's kind of hard to gauge how much people like my blankets. So it was blankets versus socks as the two criteria I was looking at. I've only got just one blanket pattern for sale on my website, and there are 3 blankets on Ravelry. Only one's a paid one. All my sock patterns are paid for, so it's kind of hard to put those two statistics together, which is why I was looking at social media as well. And on social media, blankets just outweigh the reach and the likes, comments, saves, etc. They just, I mean, they're not even close. The blanket reach, the blanket's likeableness, if for want of a better word, is just so much higher than socks. So I kind of thought, right, let's, I don't need to be putting all my energy into creating sock patterns, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, they are selling, and so is the blanket pattern. So it's not that they're not selling, but I'm kind of thinking, could I be doing more by creating some more blanket patterns? So I'm going to go not quite straight into, possibly I'll start it over Christmas. I'm going to start a blanket design, which is not going to be a scrappy one. It's going to be more of a kind of along the lines of Joanne has inspired me with her sampler look. So I'm thinking some sort of sampler blanket that will be in multiple colours. It will not be Tunisian, it'll be regular crochet, but it'll have kind of layers, stripes going across it in different patterns and textures, in different colours, but probably more in bands. I'm not thinking of doing mosaic crochet or tapestry crochet or anything like that. I'm thinking bands of different textures. It'll be quite a textured thing. That's where I've got my thinking so far. So I went live on Instagram yesterday just asking folks what they thought, and actually I better hop on and I put a wee survey as well asking what do you prefer to crochet, socks or blankets. I put it in my stories, I put it on my grid. I've had a lot of comments on the grid, and I just need to, before I go out with the dog, make sure that I go in and check what those responses are, because in stories they disappear after 24 hours, and then even if you've created like the survey, it doesn't come up anywhere, which is really annoying. You have to remember or set an alarm and go back in and check, because so many times I put these surveys up and I'll maybe check them 12 hours later, 5 hours later, whatever, but then I forget just before the end to double check the very end, and then I get a bigger idea, obviously, because more people have seen. I'm aware I'm talking very fast. I will have some tea to slow down. I'm quite excited. I think that's what it is. I'm not seeing it as a block in my business. I'm not seeing it as something to worry about or overcome. I'm just kind of looking at the bigger picture. What is it that people are wanting more? And blankets seem to be the winner. I'm definitely not going to stop designing socks. I've already got another one, another one in there. So I'll probably do both. But I'm just keen to start designing more blankets, is the outcome of that. So thank you for joining me in all that ramble. Do leave me a comment if you haven't already. It'd be great if you could subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on, and then you'll get pinged when I do my next podcast, or if I do any shorts. I'm trying to keep those up as well. So yeah, have a great couple of weeks. Thank you for watching, and happy crocheting. Bye.